people ended up dying they shouldn't have, but it was investigated. I mean, we went into the op room and we had to put this information in front of our commanders over and over and over again, and draw the diagrams that I just drew on the chalkboard, explain how the whole thing went down and how these people were managed to get killed. It was an accident. It was investigated, but it's not what's going on now with the Marines as they are today. And then how they retaliate to one of their guys getting killed, or a few of their guys getting killed, and busting into a house and killing innocent people in retaliation, and then the government covering it up. That is the crime. That is what we need to focus on. That's what the American people need to realize, that our government and our military are capable of covering up these atrocities, and at least trying to before the news gets out there. The Marines, I mean, I can imagine the situation that they're in. I mean, I've just recently lost a few friends over in Iraq, but the Army psyche and the Marine psyche are two completely different things. So I'm not considering myself an expert on their mentality or what was going through their mind or anything. All I'm saying is that I can somewhat imagine the situation that they're going through. That they had, they got attacked. They knew where it was coming from, most likely. They had an idea of where they were. They didn't get the clearance to go in. They decided to take it upon themselves, or they got the clearance to go in, and they went in and went crazy in retaliation to their loss. I mean, they should be held accountable. I mean, murder in cold blood it's what I fight every day now. I mean, so what they did should be held accountable. But the underlying factor, the major factor is that the government, the military, once again tried to cover it up. I mean, just like Pat Tillman's death. Pat Tillman was killed by fratricide, but for weeks after the incident, the military reported that he was killed by freedom fighters, by Taliban freedom fighters on the border of Pakistan and Afghanistan, which it wasn't true. I mean, my LT, my lieutenant, was his battle buddy. What happened was he got shot by his own men. I believe that they weren't even in a firefight at all. That they were doing target practice in a field, in a vast field, just shooting, and an accident happened that he was shot and killed by one of his own men, and the government covered it up. I mean, they had been trying to recruit Pat Tillman, and this was the more of the story, that the government and the military had been trying to recruit him to be a recruiter, to get him to go out to high schools and try to get people to come into the military because their retention is so low. And the military always misrepresents the facts. They always twist things to distort their image to make them look good. That's what the military is. I mean, I experienced it myself. They use and misuse our actions. Just weeks before I was supposed to redeploy back from Afghanistan at the end of my 6-month short tour, they started to build us up for this really big mission. It was our last mission right before we went home. We started training, doing PT, really getting ready for this last mission, and then we're home. It was all over after this. So for about 2 weeks, we did PT twice a day. I mean, we built like a 20-foot by 20-foot sand terrain model of this terrorist training camp. We had satellite overlays. We had the topographical feature maps. We knew everything. There was supposed to be 3 platoons of a battalion in a terrorist training camp in this remote part of Afghanistan, right near the Pakistan border. There were supposedly buildings, there were supposedly people and weapons caches, and CNN was with us. They got the whole thing, the build up, the training, everything. They got to record the whole thing. They got exclusive rights, and they got to until after the mission was done. They got to release the footage. So we got all this ammo. Like, seriously, the guys had so much ammo that it was duct taped to their legs. Like saw rounds, 200 round saw drums taped to their legs with duct tape, because this mission was supposed to be huge. So we brought 800 pounds of C4. 800 pounds of C4 to, whatever we needed to do with it. So we get in birds, we fly out there, I'm in the last lift, we get radio back as we're out there, the first bird is landing and we're on our way out, and the ground is ice cold. That's the report, it's ice cold, there's nobody there. So we're like, great, busted mission, we just did all this work, we just did all this crap, and now we're not even getting to do anything. We get there, and everyone's sitting on their ass. They're just sitting there. They're having a good time, smoking cigarettes, eating whatever they stuffed in their pockets between ammo, and they're just sitting there waiting to figure out what to do. CNN has already walked up the hill. They're up there already. You know, they're doing whatever they want. The commander's pissed. The lieutenants are pissed. Nobody knows what's going on. But so they decided to tell us to just clear the place. Make sure the place is clear. Obviously, there's no one here. The buildings that were supposed to be there were rubble. I mean, they were like maybe a quarter of a wall was left. I was told to climb up this hill and clear a small hole that was in the side of the hill because there might be someone hiding in there with an AK-47 or RPG or something. So I walk all the way up this hole. I look down and there's a Slim Jim wrapper in the hole. And I mean, it was like obviously SF had been there, and they even stayed in the hole that I was clearing the night before. CNN, like I said, is up the hill. At this point, everybody's pissed, and we're carrying all this ammo, so they're like, you know what, we're going home. Let's spendex it. Let's go ahead and just blow it up. So there's a beautiful couple caves. So we take that 800 pounds of C4, and we decide to blow up the caves. The whole time, CNN's right there with the camera. It's cool stuff. The guy's just blowing stuff up, right? And then after that, they're like, oh, guys, you got all that ammo. Let's go out to the field and shoot it. We get online, and we're just blasting away. They take that footage. And then I go home, and I don't think about it. Everybody goes home. Nobody thinks about it. It's over. As soon as we get back to Iraq, you don't even think about it. It wasn't until about 3 months later, someone threw the tape my way. And actually, not only on that tape, but on the further note, on that tape was misrepresented footage that we were actually battling people in that area, that we were actually shooting people, and that we were blowing up the caves, and that there was a battle on the border. I believe was even the title of the news broadcast. On a different topic, I was located in Medical City in Baghdad before I had entered Mosul. We were located in Saddam's auditorium, which was right on, I believe, the Tigris River that runs right through Baghdad. Our objective was to secure Medical City and to allow the ambulances to get in and out and protect everybody and make sure everything ran smoothly so that the hospital could work. Not only did we protect the area, but the commander in charge decided it was a good idea to put snipers on the roof of the hospital, which is directly against Geneva Convention. It automatically makes that hospital a military target and is able to be shot at from the opposing force. That right there was always something in my mind that wasn't right, but maybe it had to be done, maybe it didn't. But my job was to sit in the ER and make sure that the patients and everything came through, and the family members would wheel in child after father, after son, after uncle, after just body after body, missing legs, missing holes in their body, heads, I mean blood, and these families are just screaming. And I mean, I spent weeks sitting there watching this. I mean, having the old men of the family who spoke English, were educated enough to sit down and explain to me what America was really doing to Iraq. It was intense. It was really ridiculously intense. I mean, it's some stuff I try not to think about too often, if at all. What we've done to their country, I mean, I can't even imagine if someone put us through that. After I got back from Iraq, I was done. I was spent. I knew what was going on. I knew it was BS. Everything that they were telling me. I got back and saw the turmoil that America was in, and the lies to the news networks, and it was at that point my commanders came to me and asked me for retention, and I told them no. Dylan was breaking through with me with information. I mean, he'd been sending me stuff overseas, about what he was researching, and then I hate to say it, I saw Fahrenheit 9/11, and everything just crashing together. My world just kind of flipped, and I was like, holy crap, we did 9/11. And I'm in the military-industrial complex, and I'm the trigger man. I'm my company's RTO. From that point, I went out and joined forces with Dylan Avery after the release of the first edition of Loose Change. Jumped in as producer, helped them in the creation of the second edition, and have been just out fighting for it day in and day out. Just like guys like Alex, 24/7. Just awake, pushing the 9/11 truth, trying to get Americans involved, getting them aware of the truth behind not only 9/11, but other false flag terrorist operations. And when I come home and I see this police state, and I see where America is right now, it's troubling to think how fast the media and the government could spin a story that would turn those guns away from the Iraqis and point them at American citizens. It's so easy. It's so easy for them to spin a news story and get those soldiers back here into the United States. Forget about Iraq. Make Americans happy shortly. Get them back in here. Have another terrorist attack.